Hey now, CJ here with The Build Show. Today I got you on a job. We're going to talk about sconce lights, the strategy we're using to mount them, and a couple other little nuts and bolts outdoor sconce lights. All right guys, let's dive in. Outdoor sconce lights, but I want to start the video by saying this method could be used for basically anything mounting outside, right? We use it for receptacles. I'm just talking specifically electrical, but sconce lights. But what I want to start with is, you can see behind me, I got a 3-car garage on a build that we're wrapping up pretty quick. We're in kind of the mid-trim out phase. We're waiting on exterior paint currently, but I can still walk you through some of the details. So again, sconce lights outside. You can see too right now I got this beautiful hardy lap siding. So if you've ever mounted a sconce light to lap siding, you know that it doesn't sit perfectly flush. So when you go to hang a fixture on this, it's gonna be out a few degrees because it's mounting to something that's not perfectly plumb. So we'll work with these amazing builders that we are so lucky to work with that take a little bit of thought beforehand. So I want to kind of take you through. I'll start with one. I'm going to bring you up on the ladder and kind of show you the up close and personal, and then I'm going to actually show you the light and kind of a few of the details that we took into consideration from the beginning of this build all the way to trim out. All right, so I got you down at the light fixture. I wanted to show you it real first. It's still packaged up in the box, but I can pull it out and show you. But it's a classic gooseneck style sconce, right? So it's got an install detail. I can't stress enough, guys, designers, contractors, electricians, I can't stress enough how important it is to get the fixture details early on the project, right? During rough-in, it's going to dictate where we run our wire, what box we use. Again, I'm going to show you the detail. So we knew these early on in the design. We were able to pull the spec sheet, see the dimensions. The backplate is what I really want to talk about here. So I'm going to pop this guy open and I'm going to pull out, it's still in pieces. Again, traditional gooseneck with a medium base lamp, which I love, but we'll talk about that in other videos. It's in pieces, the gooseneck's separate, but I want to pull out the most important thing that I asked for, that I sometimes get looked at weird because it's like at the beginning of the build, I'm like, hey, what lights are you putting outside? And this is why, guys. So this is the backplate. This is actually where the gooseneck pops in. It's gonna have, and the shades on it, but the backplate is the absolute most crucial part for us as electricians to have, and I'll show you why. So I'll take you up, an electrician on an aluminum ladder, I know, but it's the painters. We should be on fiberglass. But I want to show you, so this is the backplate. We had the dimension on the specifications. We actually coordinated what I call a plinth block. Maybe it's not the true technical or a monument, but basically all it is a flat block that was planned out dimension-wise to accept this backplate. You can see it's got an even reveal around the end. It gives us a nice flat portion. So all this is a 2x material that they're using for the rest of the trim, cut down specifically to the size that we needed, and then mounted to all that fun building science stuff behind it. The zip wall, it's fully waterproof behind it. And I know I'm gonna get it. Look at those blue boxes this electrician's using. We did it specifically. Oftentimes we'll use metal, it's more durable. But in this case, we opted to go plastic because I could see the Pacific Ocean from here. So corrosion is a big thing out here. And if I put a metal box in, it's going to rot away in months. So anyways, we went plastic. And I'll also say that we used a pancake box. Not my ideal scenario, but I will say, if you know what your fixture is and what goes behind the backplate into the box, you'll know, if you're an electrician, that when you are asked to install pancake boxes, these thin 1/2 inch or 3/4 inch deep boxes, they can really screw you up if it has an internal driver or some kind of mounting that doesn't want to protrude into the box, or wants to protrude into the box, but you don't have that depth. So we try not to use pancakes, but this is a perfect application for it because a few reasons. The depth of the wall, we have solid framing behind us. So this block actually gave us distance to recess that box into. Sometimes you can, if it's 1.5 inch material, you can use a standard depth box, which is also ideal to run this block. It's fully waterproof behind, it's got flashing above it, it's a really good detail, and I'm not mounting to crooked lapped siding and having my fixture not sit level. Another reason we opted, or why we need to know early on what box we're using, is sometimes they'll have holes that you mount the fixture to, or sometimes your backplate's a long backplate with a nice ornate sconce, and the junction box distance or location will dictate where that fixture sits. So if you're trying to line things up, push hard at the beginning of a project to get your specifications early, because then you can end up with a really nice planned detail like this. Last I want to touch on is this pancake box. I wanted to point out every location that we have here is switched together, but we have a single wire in each box. So we did not run with a pancake where you're limited on cubic inches inside the box. We've talked about junction boxes on previous episodes, but there's only so much room in each junction box depending on the specifications. So these pancake boxes do not have a lot of depth. We do not need a lot of depth. We do not have anything going into the junction box. We have a small wire that's going to come out of the fixture after assembly, connect on our wires, and it's going to mount perfectly. We lined up the holes. Sometimes we'll mount these holes at a 45, depending on the backplate detail. It does not matter on this one, but if you're trying to have your screws horizontal, pay attention to what those screws are going into and orient your box properly. So make sure you get your specs. I can't stress that enough. But again, we're running one wire to each box. So actually each one of these wires runs back to a junction box that we strategically located. We have a big attic crawl space, so it was perfect. Our switch leg coming from the switch goes to that junction box in the attic that's just going to get a blank or in a mechanical space. And then each one of these lights got an individual cable run to it, just allowing us to keep a nice, we have no junction in this. It's more reliable, especially in this corrosive weather. We're trying to keep junctions on the perimeter of the building from weather because corrosion is a thing. So one wire per box, it makes for a much simpler install. It makes a more reliable install instead of having junctions in each box and potentially getting water or weather to them. Again, should not be an issue if you're installing properly, but it is something to think about. Again, this backplate will sit perfectly flat on this weatherproofed plinth monument backplate. I'm going to call it much cleaner. No shims or any afterthought, because if we did have a fixture that was different dimension, we would have coordinated this dimension, because they can build it out of it. Yeah, we got carpenters that can build anything. So anyways, guys, I think that wraps up this video. I just wanted to stress again, details, get your fixtures early, and then think about the box you're going to use if your backplate covers it, and how you're going to work with the other trades on a job. So check out more of our videos on the Build Show Network, and I'll see you on the next one.